Hi, welcome to Growing Homemakers. Sorry, my mom's in there right there. This is week 4 of the Pantry Challenge videos that you're going to see here. I think we're going to continue. We talk about it at the end of this. We'll talk about it at the end of this video, so watch the whole thing so you can see that our discussion about if we are or are not going to continue with the Pantry Challenge into February. We feel like we've been very successful, besides a few things. Mom and Dave have bought some garlic and Mom's cream for her coffee. I have been buying fruit for my little man, but that is it. But we've been doing really good. And here are the meals that we've made this week.
So I just took our milk that I freeze dried out of the freeze dryer. We're doing the pantry challenge, and we have enough cheese that I've been making out of the milk that we get. So this week I decided to freeze dry the milk. We had also freeze dried chicken broth that we had made, with some chicken carcasses that we had in there. But this is the milk. Now, I thought I was going to end up with the same amount that I ended up with from the chicken broth. So I brought a quart and a small Mylar Ziploc bag. But I've already filled a quart with one tray. So I'm going to have more Mylar bags. And also with the chicken broth, I put it in the Vitamix to grind it up. But if you look, oops. Oh, I put the lid on. So here's the small Mylar bag, and this is the Ziploc. I'm sorry, I don't know how many ounces it is. Do you remember, Sarah? Anyways, so I'll use one of those. And then this is how the milk looks. It actually broke apart. So I was going to put it in the Vitamix to grind it up like I did the chicken broth, but it just turns into powder.
Like instant mashed potatoes.
Yep, that's what it looks like, instant mashed potatoes. So we've run out of milk a few times or gotten very low, and my grandson is drinking milk now instead of breast milk. So this was a good way to preserve that. So if we run out another time, then we'll have some milk that we can reconstitute. Now, as far as how we reconstitute, I don't know. We'll probably just figure it out ourselves, maybe look up something on the internet. But this is it. This is our milk. Just to add, I did skim a little bit of the cream off the top because I didn't want it to be too fatty. So where we normally have about that much cream on the top, I skimmed it off to about that far in the jar. But it freeze-dried fine. So, thank you. Hi, I am Maria from Growing Home Acres. Thank you for joining me today. I am going to make yogurt from raw milk in the Instapot. I used the recipe that I got from Homesteading with the Zimmermans. Her recipe says take 3 to 4 quarts of milk. Sometimes I only do 2 quarts. But this time I am going to do 4 quarts or 1 gallon of milk. And it is raw cow's milk. I do skim off a lot of the cream. You can see I leave like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of cream on the top of the jar. I will use these 2 jars, and we have quite a bit of raw milk today, so I'm going to pour this into here to make these 2 full half gallons. So before I put my milk in there, I shake them up really good. I want to incorporate the cream into the milk. And before I poured that other jar in here to fill these up, I shook that up. So I'm going to pour these in here. This is about all that fits in here. I could probably put another quart, but a gallon is good. So what I do, and she doesn't specifically say this in her recipe, Because I have the newer Instapot, I'm going to set it on sous vide at 181 degrees. And I'm using this lid.
Pressure lid.
The pressure lid. Which I always fight with to get on. So my husband will come. All right, so sous vide. And I do it for 4 hours. So as you see, I do it for far longer than is necessary for even a gentle pasteurization. So I will make this batch at 181. And then my next batch that I make, I'm going to drop that temperature to 145 and see how that turns out. When it's done, it'll beep at me and we'll go on to the next step.
And there is one thing that I did that you always have to make sure when you do sous vide on this thing. That little button has to be pushed down or it'll pressure cook. It'll build pressure.
This button?
This button. Right there.
So I had set my milk on sous vide at 181 degrees, which is what Homesteading with the Zimmermans does. And I don't know if it's going to temp at the 165. And I pulled the lid off after it came to temp. You can see it's only been in here for 5 minutes. And it temped at 165. I'm going to leave it at 165. The thing is you just go to the store and you get a good yogurt. I couldn't find a organic, but I got the Chobani non-fat plain Greek yogurt, which has live cultures. You want to make sure it has live cultures in it. So it's got 6 live and active cultures in it. About a quarter of a cup in 3 to 4 quarts of milk. So I'm just gonna, I probably end up putting a little more than a quarter. So I just put that in. Okay. So I actually screwed up this yogurt. I don't think I have to throw it out or anything, because when I got to 165, I added my cultures right away. I added this right away, and I'm sure it killed it. So what we were supposed to do is drop the temperature, or wait until the temperature drops between 110 and 115. So that's what I've now done. Even though I added the cultures before, I just ignored that, dropping the temperature to 110 to 115, and this is at it's like 112 or 113 once you stir it all up. Okay, so now I'm going to add about a quarter of a cup of the yogurt. I don't measure it. I'll just add like, this is probably more like a half a cup, but that's okay. Okay, let's see if the yogurt worked, even though I messed up and put the first batch of live cultures or yogurt in when it was too hot, and then I put it in again, but it looks to me it worked. Okay, so this is the yogurt. I now have it all in a bowl, and it tastes just like cream cheese. So my heating it to 165 degrees and then doing an oops and putting in my yogurt culture at 165 degrees, which would have killed it. And then I put my yogurt culture in again when I got it to drop to between 110 and 115. And then I left it drain all night, and it tastes just like cream cheese, and it has the texture of cream cheese. So, I don't know. But the lesson is never throw it out.
Look at me. Oh, I look terrible. Welcome back to the channel. What am I doing, Bubba, huh? So I'm babysitting right now for a little bit. And I'm going to get ready to start a vegetable beef soup. And I'm going to do it from scratch. I'm going to do it with soup bones from our cow from last year. And we have an issue. So Sarah started making sourdough bread. And to make the sourdough bread, the Dutch oven had to go in the oven at 550 degrees. So I've cleaned it, as you can see here. Let's see what I got. I've cleaned the lid, but I haven't started cleaning the actual Dutch oven yet. Because what happened is, can you see this? Let's see if we can get it in there. What happened is she used an oven mitt. And it melted. I've never seen one melt. So view of this. And this is kind of a caution for everybody. If you've got oven mitts, make sure that you know. I need a little bit better light here. Can I get better light? Make sure that you know that the oven mitt isn't going to do this. It literally melted. We're lucky that with this being 550 degrees, she didn't get hurt. And so now I'm starting to clean it. So here's the lid. The lid looked the same way. And what I'm using is mineral spirits. Now, we didn't know if mineral spirits was going to work, but that's what I'm going to use. So as soon as I get done with the mineral spirits, I'm going to start. I'll have to, of course, wash it real well to get the mineral spirits off of it. And then I am going to start making a beef vegetable soup. We're going to start with a couple packages of beef bones, and we're going to just cook them down. And then I'm going to use freeze-dried onions, mushrooms, green beans, and then some frozen vegetables. And that'll be dinner for tomorrow night, but I'm going to get it going tonight. I got to get like I said, I've got to get a good crust on the beef bones. So that's it. So that's kind of our cautionary thing about what oven mitt you use to take really hot items out of the oven. So what I'm actually doing, I'm putting the mineral spirits on a paper towel, and then I'm soaking a little bit on the side of the pan, and that's breaking it up. I got a helper. Me and Jack are doing this. And then I'm taking a dull spoon, because this is an enameled pot, and I'm scraping. And I want to get this glue off without damaging the enamel. And as you can see, I've already taken it off of here. It loosens it right up, this mineral spirits. And there's no scratch. And you don't want to, this is not something you want to do with enamel. You don't want to be scraping it with metal. But in this case, I have no choice. I'm either going to get stuck with this glue on here, or it's going to come off. And that's it. Okay, so I'm starting the beef and vegetable soup. And as you can see, I'm going to use 2 packages of soup bones. I'm going to brown them here in the salt, pepper, and brown them in the Dutch oven. But then I think I'm going to move them to a big pot so I can start. I really want to make a big pot this time. We'll either end up freeze drying it, or we'll can it. Okay, so here's step 2 of my soup. I know it doesn't look like much, but what it is it's a jar of homemade French onion soup, and a quart, and a pint of vegetable broth, homemade vegetable broth. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the lid on the Dutch oven. Oh, and I drained any excess fat out of there after I really browned this these soup bones down really well. As you can see, I browned them down real well, but they're still, they're real fatty. They're soup bones. And we're going to get this up to a simmer. We're going to let it simmer. It's 5:30 at night now. I'll probably simmer it until I go to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock. Turn it off. Start it back up in the morning, depending on how tender it is in the morning. If I decide to pull all of the bones out tomorrow, it just depends on what's cooked down. And then and we'll move on to the next step, which will be to let it completely cool and then scoop any fat off the top and then restart again. This soup probably will take me, it might be edible tomorrow night, but more than likely it'll be a 2-day process. So I didn't video putting the vegetables in the soup. What I did is I pulled all the bones out, all the beef bones and the big fatty chunks and the gristle and all that. Then I put some mixed frozen vegetables that have been in the freezer, and then those green beans that are in there were not dehydrated, freeze-dried. And then to go with the soup, I made a batch of rice, and I just used tomato juice that we had canned. So that's it. That's what our pantry challenge meal is tonight. That's the soup I started making actually yesterday, and this is what it looks like. And that's it. See you on the next one.
So here is the sourdough, pretty much cooled out of the Dutch oven. You can see if you watched my video last week in week 3 of the pantry challenge, my sourdough was beautiful. This one, not as good looking. I think that I let it rise too much between me throwing it in the refrigerator. I think I let it rise too much between our 2-hour folding session and putting it in the refrigerator last night. So it caused it to overproof. It is homemade bread. We are going to eat it. I'm sure it tastes delicious, but it's a little sad that it's not as good as the first one. So the sourdough bread is done. Got that done today. Next, I am doing zucchini. I had pulled a handful of days ago frozen zucchini from the freezer that we had shredded. So I am making zucchini bread. I have melted butter instead of, the recipe called for oil, but I'm using melted butter. I want to just make sure it's a cup, even though it's 2 sticks. Sometimes that can be a little off. So I measured out, it is 1 cup of butter exactly. So I'm going to scrape that with the spatula because I need all of that in there. And I'm just mixing my zucchini bread with a spoon in a bowl. Been having problems with zucchini bread lately when I've made it, when we were getting it fresh and I was making it a lot. I think it's because I was using coconut flour. Or not coconut flour, I'm sorry, coconut sugar. So that's 3 eggs. I crack them in individually and mix them each in. I don't know if you're seeing little green specks in there. That's just zucchini because my spatula had some on it. Then it calls for a tablespoon of vanilla. In this bowl, I don't know if you can, there we go. It's 3 cups of all-purpose, or actually I use bread flour because that's what I tend to have on hand. a tablespoon of cinnamon, teaspoon of baking powder, teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. Because it's not as fluffy as it originally was, I'm going to guess this is pretty close to 2 cups. So I'm going to try and split it evenly. My pans are not exactly the same size. The one I'm scooping into right now, I think, is a 1/4 inch bigger each way. So I have my 2 loaves. If you can see, let me make this quick and get it up. If you can see, I have flour on the side. I rubbed it with tallow and then sprinkled it with flour to help it not stick. You could do Pam or anything like that. So let me get these in the oven. I'm going to start out with 45 minutes, and then from there, 45 minutes at 325. And from there, I'll check it, maybe give it 5 minutes here and there if I need it. So the zucchini bread has cooled. We have butter somewhere, I thought.
Ain't much left in there, but there's butter.
Here's some butter.
More in the freezer.
Yeah, I gotta take some out.
Trying to do this. Alright. I'm taking the center because I have baby also, if you guys want to grab a piece.
Yep.
Yeah, yummy. Oh, yeah. So baby gives it a thumbs up. He smiled as soon as it went in his mouth. Oh, hold on.
So we have this big bowl, which is, what is it? 1.65 liters, I think. So we're trying to figure out how to use the cream cheese. I am making peanut butter pie, which is just my favorite. I have 2 recipes for it. I opted for this recipe today. It calls for a 1/2 cup of peanut butter, a cup of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup of milk, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, an 8-ounce package of cream cheese, a tub of whipped topping, and some ice cream topping, and a cookie pie crust. Well, I don't use the cookie pie crust because I had gotten this at a discount store, the graham cracker crumbs. It makes 3 pies, unless you are having a brain fart, and then it makes, and then you put it all in a bowl and you wonder why it's so dry. I did that last time with the last box. I did not do that with this box. So anyways, I already made my crust, which is over there. The house is a mess because we made dinner and it hasn't all been cleaned up. So I have to get my scale. I feel like you lose so much of the yummy stuff. Okay.
The issue is nobody gets to lick the beaters if she doesn't use the mixer.
Right, that is true. That is true. I still wipe half of them off though. Okay, so now I'm folding in the whipped cream. I already did my crust. That was the graham cracker crumbs. It was 1 1/4 cups of the graham cracker crumbs, 5 tablespoons of butter, and sugar, but 1/4 cup of sugar. And I just put that all right in here, melted the butter, you know, of course, put it all right in here, mixed it all up right in here, and then smooshed it out with my spatula.
Where you going, baby?
Now, I think this pie pan is a 1/2 inch bigger. They usually call for, is it 8 inch or 9 inch they usually call for? 9 inch, I think.
Careful, baby.
I think this is a 9 1/2, but that's fine.
What if the pie's not good because you used a bigger pie pan?
The pie will be delicious, and if you don't like it, then you don't have to eat any.
Be nice, baby.
Since the peanut butter pie is my favorite, and what I do is I freeze it. I really like it frozen. So, and my son-in-law likes stuff frozen too, so I freeze it, and then I'll cut my piece and leave it sit out for a little bit so it's not so hard to eat. But oops, you don't want to hit your crust on the side or you end up with crumbs all over the top. So that's done. I'll put that in the freezer, cover it with aluminum foil or plastic wrap, either one's fine. And then when we take it out, we have some Hershey
Squirts.
squirt, so we'll squirt some Hershey stuff on there. The recipe says you can put the magic shell ice cream topping, which is basically what we have. Ours just doesn't harden.
That stuff's really bad for you. At least the Hershey stuff isn't quite.
True. Or you could put anything on it, anything that you like with peanut butter. So
There you go.
there it is. That was pretty quick, and that'll use up some of my cream cheese, and it will be a yummy dessert for us tonight. So we're still on week 4 of the Pantry Challenge. With that being said, we are trying to clean out our freezer, so we had a bunch of tallow in our freezer, and I'm going to melt that down. So here's what we did. Took out the roaster. Haven't done it this way yet. And we put it all in there. That's not really, that's just a bunch of fat right now. So we're going to melt it down. We put it on the lowest temperature. I'm going to keep it stirring. And yes, that's frozen. So I got to keep it stirring so it doesn't burn. And I've got it on 150, a little less than 150. I don't know if I can turn it down anymore. I might try it. And that'll take all day to melt probably. The last time we did it in crock pots, and we had to have 3 or 4 crock pots going. So we're going to try it this time.
So tonight's Pantry Challenge meal, we're going to do something kind of, I don't know if it's different from other people, but it's different for us because I've never done this before. We're taking chicken breasts that we had in the freezer, homemade mozzarella cheese. This is homemade cream cheese. And then we had a couple pie crusts from, what were they from? We did something, over the holidays, I think. And so they need to be used up. So what I'm doing is I'm shredding the chicken.
Chicken breasts are marinated.
Yeah, it's marinated in sun-dried tomato dressing, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to mix the chicken, the mozzarella cheese, the cream cheese, and some Italian seasoning in a bowl. And then I'm going to cut the pie crusts into 4 pieces, triangles, stuff them, egg wash them, and bake them. And that's tonight's Pantry Challenge meal. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, so I just wanted to show a little bit of assembly here on something that we've never done. We just kind of invented this. So if you look in here, in my little air fryer, I've got 2 of them in there actually cooking already. We're baking them. I don't know how long to bake them for. I'm going to bake them till they're golden brown, flip them over, bake them till they're golden brown. And we're going to see what happens. And then this is how we're assembling them.
So we have cooked chicken.
Yeah. So the chicken's cooked already. So it's not like I got to worry about something in here that's not going to be cooked.
And he mixed it with the cream cheese that I made by accident with our raw cow's milk. And mozzarella that I had previously made.
A little bit more, you think?
Yeah. That I had previously made and we froze. So he mixed that together and we had the pie crusts, which I think he said before, but
And then I'm just taking...
I would just...
She's supposed to be filming, but she can't help herself, so
Yeah.
I get instruction while I'm doing it. Could be...
So then you wet the edges of the pastry so that it glues together. And then kind of push it down all the way around. Even, did you wet here or no?
No, I didn't figure I
Okay.
needed to with that being together
No.
like that.
And then crimp it with your fork. Not too much, because then you'll actually end up with feathered pie crusts.
Chicken feather?
You'll end up with fringe.
Fringe. We don't want fringe.
Right, you don't want fringe. You want crimp.
Hey, if it's not fun to cook, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Exactly. And then we're also going to have leftover rice that we...
Yeah, we've got leftover rice from when I made the beef stew.
Yep.
So,
Which he actually cooked.
leftover rice I cooked with tomato juice in the rice cooker.
Yep.
It turned out okay. I burned a little bit in the rice cooker, and I think it's because of the tomato juice. So it turned out all right. And rather than doing like fried rice, which I don't really know how to make, we're going to add a can of...
A jar.
A jar of corn
that we canned.
that we canned in 2022. This is our last can of sweet corn. And we're going to do corn and rice. And then the
Yep.
the little pastry that we made. And that's it.
And the tomato juice was... We made something. We canned something, and we ended up with this juice from the tomatoes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
it
know,
was-
because we did the cans. We did the tomatoes in the...
Oh, yeah. We did the tomatoes, cooked the tomatoes in the roaster.
Yeah, and we left all the juice in there. You don't take the juice out. You
Yeah.
just take the tomatoes out. And I said, why are we leaving all that
Yeah,
juice?
Why are
I mean,
we throwing juice away?
technically, it's not the way you would make tomato juice, but it tastes like tomato juice. So
It
we
worked
saved
out.
it, and you can use that to make your rice and give it a little flavor. It would be good for Spanish rice or Mexican rice or just any rice. So
It worked
anyways.
out really well. I mean,
Yeah. Or you can drink it. You can have a Bloody Mary. You could drink it for breakfast.
breakfast soup.
Breakfast soup.
Breakfast soup.
Yep. All
during,
right.
during COVID.
So
That's
for
when we came up with
some
breakfast
reason,
soup.
this one's getting a lot more chicken. This must be Dave's.
It's bigger. Wow. That's really good.
Is it?
It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There's
Did you tell him what you put in it?
so this was, of course, we talked about the cheese, which this is Maria's mozzarella.
That we froze.
It was frozen, and so the texture's not real awesome, but the flavor's
What's wrong
fantastic.
with the texture?
It's kind of
Wet?
like squishy, wet.
Okay.
Yeah, like a squishy, wet texture.
So he grated it and
I-
put it in that cheese, and there's the cream cheese that I made by accident when I was making yogurt, and hopefully we'll have a video of that. And you can't even tell that mozzarella cheese is, there.
And
there
then
it
this Italian seasoning is our Italian seasoning.
Yeah, so we made our own Italian seasoning.
And that's so out of stuff that's out of our garden.
And that's what's in there.
And that's what's in there.
And he said
I
it's
just
yummy.
licked
I
my
haven't
finger,
tried it.
and it's yummy.
So,
It is.
there you go.
It is really good. This is gonna be a fantastic meal. The other thing we're doing right now, since we've got the camera going, we may as well show.
Well, I showed earlier, but I haven't.
We're cooking down tallow.
Yeah, this is fat from the last.
The last heifer that we had butchered.
Yep. Okay, folks, got to show you this. Did not work in our Oyama roaster because all the stuff fell out into the bottom.
That's going to be an issue.
So somebody's going to be eating just pastry. I think we'll give those to Sarah and David,
This
right?
is going to be an issue. This sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
So, good. I'm glad that we're doing this.
So that was a little bit of a... I mean, the
This
pastry
shows
looks
a-
awesome.
This shows
So
a
if we
fail.
can get it off there... Do you want to put some aluminum foil on there? And we'll flip the pastry over and stuff them again?
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to do that. Yeah, let's try that. So let's try that.
Just put a sheet... We'll just stick some stuff on the top of the pastry and put it in the broiler or something.
Well, you know what? It's got to be on a pan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to work. See?
That.
Well, we can scrape that off the bottom and put it in there, though.
No, I cooked chicken in there earlier. Ooh, that's hot.
So, it's cooked.
It's greasy.
Well, that is true. I mean, chicken's not that greasy, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
This was a super fail.
Yeah, the problem is it's sticking. So the other thing that we should have done was grease that thing.
Yeah, but I didn't realize it was going to do that.
So, yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to do that.
Well, that's okay. We'll figure it out.
So, there you go. When you're doing something that you've never
Yeah.
done.
So we should have put them in the oven on a pan. So there's a lesson. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these.
Fold them up and do this.
No, we're going to pile them all together. We're going to put
Yummy.
We're going to put some more stuff in them. I think we should use that. I'll convince Dave of that. We'll just scoop that up, stick it on there, and throw it in the broiler.
Here. Well,
Not in there. We'll
Let's
throw it
try
in
it.
our oven in the broiler. Although, yeah, whoop. You're going to burn yourself. Yeah.
I wasn't going to burn myself till you said that.
How about... You want a spatula? No? How is it?
Yummy.
Do you want the spatula to get that out of there? Yeah, because our metal spatula is flat. So that'll make it more difficult. So, I mean, this might be a little... All the grease from the chicken went to the bottom.
And we keep this oven clean. So it's not like there's anything in here that we're not cooking right now. You know, I cooked the chicken in here. It was fully cooked. There's nothing raw. We're not taking a chance on poisoning ourselves. All right.
And then these, once he's done with these...
I have a pan that I can set in here. I have a pan that I can set in there.
You're
that
still
they
going to
can
put
sit
it
on.
in there. So he's still going to put it in here.
Unless we throw them in the oven and bake them
But
in the
where's the
oven.
pan?
It's,
We'll show you the pan we're going to...
because the problem is it fell through there.
Yeah, from the heat it fell through
So
before
we'll
it had a
wrap this
chance
in
to cook.
aluminum- We'll wrap this in aluminum foil. And put this, this pan goes on
So
the
he's
grate.
got a pan that will go on the grate.
And
So
we'll just,
he's going to do it that way.
yeah. So we're going to salvage this dinner if it...
Yep.
And that's
Still
it.
looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah. I ate a piece of it. It was really
Yeah.
yummy.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so this is the last one to come out, and it might have actually worked the best. So Sarah's trying to get it off the tinfoil, which she'll be able to do that. Get a plate.
I need a spatula. Oh, there it is.
And we had a couple disasters.
It's soggy on the bottom.
Yeah.
Careful.
But it's just, there's too much. It's too liquidy.
You don't know how to drink out of a...
It's
What? Here. Open.
so
Jack.
here. I don't know if it's because
And my bottom didn't cook.
yeah. So, but the baker in the house would not let me flip it over to bake the other side.
Because that's why they were all exploding. Oh, well, no, they fell through, you said.
They fell through. So, but that's how it turned out. And they taste really, really yummy. I mean, they're good. So, that's our pantry challenge meal. A little bit disastrous, but yummy. So that's it.
You don't learn anything if you don't experiment.
That's right. If you don't experiment, you can't figure it out, and we'll do it better the next time.
So Mom and Dad made the, I don't know what we're calling them, cheese and chicken pie pockets last night. And there was a lot of chicken left over. So tonight we had some frozen pesto that we had pulled yesterday and ended up not using. So we made pesto and chicken pasta. And then I threw some of my sourdough starter in my skillet and just threw it in the oven to try and make what I would call a breadstick. I am not the biggest fan of it. My mom and dad love it. So it is a hit for most of us. It's not bad. I put some garlic and onions and butter on top of it. It's good. It's just sour tasting. It's got that sourness from the sourdough in it. So tonight's dinner in the pantry challenge is one of my Xanaran boxes. I still have 2 after this. Just yellow rice. And we had some hot dogs I had found in the freezer way past their freezer time. Probably should not have chopped them up and put them in there like it was mac and cheese. It is not cheesy rice. But that is our dinner tonight. I have to make bread. We don't even have any bread to go with it or anything. But this, super simple. We're doing a fend for ourselves tonight. Mom's at work. Dad is at home. And super simple, easy, kind of weird. But that's what we got to eat for the pantry challenge. We're not spending money right now except on baby. So that's it. So we are at the end of January for the pantry challenge, and we are discussing on if we're going to continue with it. And I think the consensus is yes.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we did really well. I mean, we really made some good meals, and it's not anything different from what we would normally eat, but we would go buy stuff at the store that we didn't need to buy. You know?
Right. I think it makes us think about, let's go look in the pantry and see what we can make based on what we have in the pantry, rather than, just thinking, oh, I like this. Let's stop at the store and get that. And, oh, we have tomatoes in the pantry we can use, and we end up then buying more stuff from the store.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and
now,
I have a lot of box stuff. So like we got rid of the Xanarans. We just finished our last box of mac and cheese tonight.
Although we have some.
Yeah, we have 2 more boxes in there.
Yeah, but I mean, for like my
We don't
pantry
have
at our household, I feel like I can see in there now.
Right.
And that's the same with the pantry here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did the same thing here. And and like you went in the pantry and looked and found an entire bag of Cheetos that was buried in the back, right?
My baked
So it's
Cheetos.
like, there's a whole bag of Cheetos. I mean,
my
that's
baked Cheetos, yeah.
yeah. And then for me, I had the pasta disaster where we opened a bag of pasta that was supposed to be sealed,
And it was gross.
and it was gross.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really I think I'd like to thank you two for suggesting that we do this. I would have never thought to do this.
Yeah, I think going forward, though, for our house, for David's, mine, and Jack's, I think we are going to make a shopping trip, though. Probably in the next week and a half. I have Azure coming this month, which will just have cheese. We are completely out of cheese, so I'm buying a 5-pound brick of cheese. Jack's cottage cheese, which I didn't get in January, that I was going to if I got my order. What else is on there? I think it's just those 2 things.
And I'm going to have something too, because I was supposed to get 3 things in January, and 2 of the things were out.
Yeah. And I want some fresh.
So I'll reorder those 2 things.
Just some fresh. I mean, we've been getting fruits and vegetables for Jack, but I miss having like just some steamed cauliflower or.
Yeah, in the wintertime, it's really, if we were doing this pantry challenge in the middle of the summer, this would be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
We had so many vegetables growing.
Stuff
everything.
Yeah, we could pretty much make 5 different eggplant dishes a week and be happy. And that's something that I think we should do. Come summertime, really, really think about what we're using that's already here on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
try to
that's what
be-
this does, makes us think about
Yeah,
everything.
get into that mindset, which
And I don't-
we did really well this month.
When did we get the freeze dryer?
I don't know.
It's been,
It was warm out when we got it.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So we didn't get to freeze dry broccoli or anything like that. So
Yeah.
if we had some of that stuff freeze dried,
I don't think we grew broccoli either.
yeah, I
We
don't
tried.
think So
We tried to grow broccoli and it didn't work out.
We sold it all at the farmer's market. There wasn't a lot. We sold it all at the farmer's market, and all we planted was cabbage and cauliflower.
and we planted them too late. It was warm. They got bugs.
But we
We got some cabbage.
We had a bunch of good cabbage.
Yeah.
we had good
we got-
cabbage. Do we get any good cauliflower this year? I don't
No.
remember if
I
we
It's
don't
bought.
think we got.
It started to try in the fall again, but I think it was just too late for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So yeah.
The
But-
the big crop this year, other than the peppers, which we are really good at growing peppers apparently, was the eggplant. The
Yeah.
eggplant really was the most successful.
Yeah, and
that
we
we
freeze
had.
dried some of that, so we're gonna have to make something from that freeze dried eggplant.
Yeah,
I personally, I'd like us to do it as long as we can into February, but I'm going to buy some fresh vegetables. I am not going to stock up again on the mac and cheese, or we were talking about you guys are out of Ritz crackers now. We're just going to find a way
We're
to
gonna
try and make them. Yeah.
Make some kind of cracker.
yeah, because we
that's-
made the cheese dip with the. I think we had those 2 packages of budding beef since Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then we used homemade cream cheese and homemade cheddar cheese,
Mm-hmm.
and seasoned it and just did it as a dip,
Yeah.
and that worked really well. And
and we're still eating it
We're still eating it. It
for
Yeah.
like a week, right?
I don't know if it's been that long since I made it, but maybe.
Well, the cream cheese
Well, the cream cheese was from last week, yeah.
week before.
Was it?
Because I made
'cause
yogurt
it was the
last
yogurt.
week.
It was the yogurt bomb that.
Yeah,
turned
it
into
was the
cream cheese.
yogurt fail,
The yogurt
but turned
fell.
into cream cheese. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to replicate that. We'll have to see. So,
But yeah,
We'll see.
that was a good addition to the pantry challenge
Yeah.
because we were able to use the cream cheese for 2 or 3 different meals, right?
yeah. Well, I made a peanut butter pie. We did that, like kind of like calzone type things that were.
Yeah, the chicken cheese pie
Yeah.
wedges.
It was a visual disaster,
It was
but
yummy,
a
though.
taste
It was
success.
delicious.
Yeah.
It was delicious, but I really. That's one of the first times I consider myself to be a good cook, and I struggle with that.
And what else? Did we make something else with the cream cheese?
I don't know. We probably could have made some type of cream sauce with pasta and stuff.
Yeah, which
We
still
talked
can.
about it.
But yeah.
I thought we made something
Tomorrow night's
else, so I still
tomorrow
have some
night's
left.
pantry challenge meal is going to be meatloaf.
Yeah, Dave wants meatloaf, so we'll be
Meatloaf.
doing that. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is with the pantry challenge is we didn't have a lot of vegetables. We had the corn, and we just used the rest of the corn. We have green beans. We still have quite a bit of green beans, I think. So we can
We do.
use
Dried.
freeze dried green beans.
We
Yeah,
could reconstitute those and eat them.
yeah. But
They were great to
Sarah
be
and I,
soup.
Dave, I think can live without vegetables.
I think both guys can.
But Sarah and I really like vegetables, so
Yeah.
That's why
I mean,
she-
we have tomatoes.
That's
of
why they
course, but
married
that's-
us.
And we have some other things, like we've got dill pickled tomatoes and some things like that, but not that you can just heat up and have. So
Yeah, and that's something we maybe want to do this coming, however long we extend it to, if we do the full month of February or whatever, but using the jarred and canned stuff that we worked hard preparing this year.
Yeah.
yeah,
And maybe not worrying about a side of vegetables, fresh veggies or steamed veggies or whatever it is, but pulling out the pickled green tomatoes we
Yeah.
have or the zucchini relish and I mean just dolloping it on your plate and eating it with a fork, you know.
I pulled that out to open when we did the chicken thing, and then we forgot.
And
Open
these
it,
things
so-
are
They are good. My husband actually liked them too.
we took a jar over to Uncle Mark, and I don't even think Aunt Roz got to taste it.
I don't know if you can see it says dilled green tomatoes. They're really good. They taste like a pickle.
Yep.
They're yummy.
Yeah.
They got a little crunch to them.
And they're a
And
way
they're-
to use up your green tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason we can't use that in
Yeah.
the pantry challenge. We can do tomato sauce again if we start running out of pasta. We know how to make pasta. We have a pasta maker.
Yeah.
We have flour.
Yeah, and that's
So-
what we're trying to do, get rid of all those things that we buy from the store, because Sarah and I have made pasta. There's no reason why we really have to buy pasta from the store.
Yeah. I think the only thing we'd struggle with is the like tube pasta.
The
Like, if you wanted
macaroni,
a
yeah.
manicotti or a stuffed shell or
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you do ravioli, I suppose, right?
Yeah, yeah. But, spaghetti or it would
Any
probably
kind of-
be a flat noodle. I don't think that we would make
Yeah,
it round, but, it would be a flat noodle, but you can deal with that.
We
I
found
don't
that
care what
ricotta.
shape it is.
We have that homemade ricotta in the freezer. We could do
Yep.
a lasagna noodle one night.
Oh, when I made ricotta.
Yeah,
right?
and we still
lasagna.
have mozzarella that I made in there. So it's nice because we can see that we're starting to use this stuff from our freezer, from our pantry. I have to go back out in the shabin and replenish the pantry in here because we leave all the excess out there. And we actually have some stuff out in the shabin that we don't have in here because we didn't have room for it. So, and this I feel like will help us make sure that we're going to use up that stuff and that we're not going to let it go to waste. Which there's a few things we haven't ventured into yet. Like we've got canned squash.
Yeah, the cushaw squash.
Yeah,
that
so we need
can.
to
I'm
figure
not
out
sure
what to-
do with that. If you guys have any suggestions.
Yeah.
Isn't that
in
what
the
we were making the
comments.
squash soup out of? Or is
No, that
different?
was the pureed stuff out of the freezer.
Oh.
Now we could still use the cube stuff that we canned and puree it and make a soup out of it, but I wasn't thrilled with the soup. It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
I liked it.
that was another meal I kind of struggled
It didn't
with.
taste like you expect it to taste like whatever butternut squash or whatever like normally gets used, and it did not.
Well, and I think cushaw squash, it really doesn't have that strong of a flavor. So that's something as we grow different squashes, we got to figure out what we like.
Yeah.
Because was it the cantaloupe we grew this year that was so delicious?
Oh, it was delicious. They were only about this big.
They were tiny, but they were awesome.
but they
And
were
we have
really
some
good.
freeze dried. And did we can some of those too? I know we canned the cantaloupe juice.
Yeah, but we don't have any
Yeah.
free. Yeah.
And we still have one of the cushaws in. We still have a fresh cushaw. Well,
We should cut it
it's
up
not
and
fresh, but
yeah. Cut it up and give it to the pigs.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh,
still
yeah,
good
they'll
though.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
So-
And I don't have anything extra to give to the pigs right now because we were short on milk this week. So they're not getting, normally they'd get a couple of gallons of whey.
yeah, I'm
You
not
know,
making cheese
quart
or
at a
yogurt or
time,
anything this week
we're
because
not
we
gonna
only
have
got
that.
2.5 gallons.
Yeah.
So we'll
So, yeah,
skim it for a little bit of butter, but
That's it.
yeah, and I still have cream from last week.
And
But
Jack-
yeah, I think we all agree we're going to continue this
Yeah.
for another month.
I'm probably
And-
gonna limit myself to $50 at the grocery store for this month, not counting the Azure order.
Well, and if you really think about what you're getting when you're in there, see, that's my issue. If I go into any grocery store hungry, I buy stuff I shouldn't buy.
Yeah.
But if you think about what you're buying, you know you're picking up certain things for Jack, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits. You can get in and out of there and not buy all of the stuff that we're so used to buying. It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's just easy.
Yeah, I
for
think
for us, you and me together, I would like to go to the store and get a bag of potatoes. We don't have any regular potatoes.
Potatoes.
I would like to do that. And, not eat potatoes out of a box.
yeah.
So we'll probably both set limits then on how much we're gonna spend, and then we will show you what we bought from the store with our $50 or whatever we've decided we're gonna allocate for. I think one of the big things I've missed is I was making breakfast sandwiches and burritos for my husband to take to work. And because of the pantry challenge, I was not doing that anymore. So maybe we'll venture into trying to make our own tortillas, or I'll venture into making my own tortillas. And also trying to make English muffins so I can make him some breakfast sandwiches.
We should do that. And
Yeah, I
we
had made-
have a recipe for English muffins that's to die for, so we should try that.
Yeah.
Which one?
We have
Judy's?
Judy's.
Yeah. Well, I had made English muffins before, and they turned out really good. And I haven't made them in a long time. I haven't made them since we lived in Illinois.
Yeah, you should.
Since then, a friend of ours, Judy, posted her English muffin recipe online, and I pulled that offline. So we'll see. But that is something I want to make. And I know Sarah and I both have tortilla presses that we got this past year, so we want to try making tortillas. And we've been making bread. Sarah's been making sourdough, and I've been making like an everyday bread.
I need to feed my starter tonight in hopes that I can make bread tomorrow.
Yeah. So, but I'm good with continuing this. Even if we didn't go to the store, I'm good with continuing it. But
Yeah, like I said, I don't think we should be in a great big hurry to go to the store and buy stuff. But if it was up to me, if there was something that I really miss, it's not being able to just grate a potato up in the morning and make hash browns.
I did miss that this morning because we were like, what are we going to have for breakfast? And I didn't say it to Dave, but I thought, man, when he made that hash that one day, we just had a potato and he threw some ham in there or whatever it was. It was so good. Baby, he's so good at that. So
yeah, and I've got leftover ham in the freezer out there. I could take it out and thought we could do a little ham hash in the morning, but it's really hard to make ham hash with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, and even though we've been doing this challenge, I still keep my eye out for stuff that's a good price. And if I find something that's really good price, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to buy a lot of it, and I'm going to freeze dry it. So they had avocados, but they at one of the grocery stores, but they only had them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. By the time I saw it, it was Saturday. And honestly, I just didn't feel like going, but they were 50 something cents for an avocado. Now, unless the avocado was one of those little tiny ones, 50 something cents is a good price. So.
And we have a lot of freeze dried avocado
we do.
right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's stuff, and you know, and if you think about that, that's one of the things. You know, I talked to a lady today that she just bought a freeze dryer, and she's struggling. You know, she didn't understand why the first day she opened the package, the stuff was great. And then day 2 and day 3, it got soggy and it got soft, and it wasn't so hot, you know. So I think that's one of the things that these two, who are the research queens, really can help people with. If you've got questions, these are the two to ask, because I wouldn't know why something went soft, but you just, you know.
Yeah, we had that with the cantaloupe.
But that was, we know why that happened. That was...
Well, no, when I opened it, it was nice and fresh, but because I brought a jar.
Oh, the cantaloupe.
Yes, when I first opened it, and we brought it and tasted over by my house. We opened it, and it was great that first day. And the second day, they were all kind of stuck together. And so you have to, some things I feel like you have to reseal the jars. It's not going to last.
Yeah, we pretty much have always resealed the jar. I mean, we don't rush out right away, you know.
Yeah, like we didn't reseal this one yet, but that's not going to last very long.
He just brought that in. I don't think they saw it, but he just brought it in. It's candy. It's our snack for tonight.
Starburst.
But if we don't eat them all, hopefully we won't. We'll reseal them tonight before we go to bed. So, and I don't think we've had a problem other than, you said, the cantaloupe. Now, I haven't opened any of the cantaloupe. I'm curious because I have, what is it? Bananas. Bananas and pears or apples.
A few different fruits, right, Sarah? We have bananas, pears,
in
apples.
The pantry.
Yeah, Mom did bananas and apples. We had a few one time, and then we did a bunch of pears.
But I have a jar that's like half full that, you know, it didn't fill it up. It filled up other jars, and then I just took the rest of it and put it in a jar and brought it in here, even though we sucked the air out of it. So I'm curious. I want to pop it open and see how it is. It looks fine.
And that'll be good for...
Yeah, but we haven't had an issue. And to tell you the truth, and we'll be doing more videos about this, we do not use oxygen absorbers.
But we have in some of the stuff.
When we first started doing it, we
haven't opened any of them, though, to really know how they...
Yeah.
So that might be another video.
In the Mylar bags, when we first started doing it, we put them in there. But a lot of our stuff we put in jars, and we do not use oxygen absorbers in those. So...
Yeah, they're supposed to be good. If you're using a mason jar, this freeze-dried stuff, as long as you... vacuum seal the lid onto the mason jar. The stuff is supposed to be good. I think they say for a year in the mason jar. And it might be good even longer.
Yeah,
if you keep sealing it and you don't just leave it open. Like if I had freeze dried onion powder or whatever, I might not seal that every time because I'm using it all the time. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not going to last more than a year, you know, but
I've heard different things from different people, but I've heard a couple of years at least. But if you want to be sure that it lasts for 25 or plus years, then you're supposed to put them in Mylar. I thought we opened one of the Mylar bags when we did the avocado. That had a Ziploc. I can't remember if I'm remembering sealing it or actually opening it. So we'll have to see. We haven't. if we didn't, we haven't opened any. If we didn't open it recently, we haven't opened any of the Mylar, which we should to see, make sure that they're
Like check one of those cantaloupe because that was one of the
Yeah.
first things we like of substance that we freeze dried because we were doing herbs before.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And now we know a lot better to make sure that they're that we feel we have a good system to make sure that all of the moisture
It's
is out
actually
of the
dry.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
All right,
Anyways,
so-
we kind of we
We
like
wanted-
to ramble,
We
wander.
wanted a little bit, but that's okay because people have questions, and that is part of our pantry challenge. That the freeze dried stuff and the canned stuff.
Yeah. So that's
Is-
probably what we'll move into now. Like I feel like I've gotten a lot of the box stuff out of my pantry, and now although I have cereal boxes of cereal, like we went to a discount store and they had the banana caramel special Cheerio limited edition, but we don't get enough milk
Oh,
because it all goes to baby and he drinks it all. So if there's none left over,
Can you start putting cereal in his bottles?
not that cereal, that's just horrible for you.
yeah.
Like, you know,
It's
but
horrible for everybody.
well,
We
no,
have
I
some
know we
cereal,
shouldn't
too,
even
but-
be buying it. You know,
Yeah.
like we got to figure out how to make our own cereal too. That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I still have those. I have to get rid of, and
So I
then
might be getting cereal from her house
you could.
when I'm jonesing for a bowl of cereal at night.
The one box is soft though.
I had to throw and that's another thing about this pantry challenge. We threw away an entire can of really good steel cut oatmeal.
That
an
was
entire-
not really good. It
And it was
taste
not
good.
really good.
Yeah, we
and
had it
an
too
entire
long.
box of regular oatmeal got fed to the pigs because it had been in the cabinet too long.
Yep.
And we want to get more steel cut oats because I like oatmeal in the morning, especially on a cold day.
Yeah.
But it's got to get eaten. So that's a big thing. Hopefully this pantry challenge will help us stay efficient with our kitchen.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
What are you doing over there, Ragnarok? Oh, what are
Smile
you?
for the camera,
Oh, what
Maggie.
are you doing over there, baby girl? I know, right? I know. We're almost done.
So I don't know if
that's
Sarah.
that's our director telling us wrap it up.
I don't know if at some point Sarah plans on doing another video showing like how empty our pantry is now. Excuse me, compared to the first video where how full it was.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to tell.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we'll wait until the end of February.
It's
and see
not
what
empty
happens.
yet. Trust me,
Yeah,
it is
there's-
not empty. Which is one of the reasons that I am happy with going on because we're gonna have a huge garden again, and we're gonna fill it up again, and if we don't eat some of this, we're not gonna have space for it. So.
Yeah, and if I were to show my pantry, like it looks like it's pretty darn empty to me. Like it's getting down there, but I don't know on video if it would like really look like there's nothing in it. So, but anyways, yeah,
Yep.
All
The dogs have lost patience. We got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
my husband's probably losing patience.
No,
All right. Hope you're enjoying watching us eat our pantry down to nothing.
Well, just to get rid of stuff that
Yeah.
we don't want anymore, and like I said, like the mac and cheese. Hopefully, I never buy another box of mac and cheese, and I just make it myself.
Yeah, my niece gave us a good recipe. She makes an awesome mac and cheese, so I did make that for. I think that was Jack's birthday,
I
wasn't
know,
it?
baby, you gotta wait.
So if we need mac and cheese, that's what we should be doing, making it from scratch, and it wasn't that hard. Excuse me.
Now, if we're buying, we're not buying pasta, and we're only making
Yeah.
our pasta. What are we gonna do? But we'll figure all that out later.
Yeah,
It'll take
maybe we'll
time.
buy
Yeah.
some
I know,
pasta.
baby.
And
We're making
others, I
cheesy
mean,
spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I am not sitting and rolling little noodles.
They're actually really easy. If you watch, there's a guy online. I mean, obviously, I'm cutting all of this out, but it's really easy. He actually, you just
shouldn't.
take. So he just takes the pasta and he pushes it, and it shapes it into these little like boops, little like tiny little. They're not
Yes.
real shells.
And how many
but-
years experience does he have doing this?
Oh, I'm sure tons, but that doesn't mean we can't try to do it.
Right.
You know, you
Exactly.
just take little balls. If we're making
What are you guys doing?
spaghetti,
Yeah.
you take a little ball and you make one and see what you end up with, you know. But
Oh, I'm willing to
anyways,
try it.
So yeah. So
right.
alrighty.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us. Let us know if you're doing a pantry challenge, how you're doing. You know, even if you don't can and stuff.
this is a good thing to do because you can clear all that. I mean, if you
Clutter.
don't have old stuff in your pantry, you are doing really well. So,
Yeah.
but it'll help you clear out some of that old stuff that you don't go to as often. So,
And share your favorite recipes, like for crackers, things that you would people buy in the store all the time that we now are trying to avoid. Crackers.
Yeah,
and
saltines, rich butter crackers.
butter
all kinds, you know.
crackers. Yep. What else was there? Your favorite
Bread.
cereal or English muffin recipe. I'd like to try and make English muffins with sourdough. So, but
Yeah.
anyways, yeah.
bread,
So-
tortillas, any recipes you have for that kind of
I know,
stuff. We'd
baby
love
girl.
to see them. Yeah, we love recipes.
So all right. Thank you for watching Growing Homemakers. I'm
Thank
Sarah,
you. Maria,
And Dave.
and we will see you next time. Bye.
bye.